back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on.
As the big man Ian Wright just said there, people, deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, in some cases, good night. Big up you lot on Twitch and on YouTube. Appreciative to have you lot tuned in. Please make sure you're smashing the like button, you're commenting, and you're engaging. I'm sure, I mean, even me, I can't keep up. I'm sure there's a bunch of content on my channel that's come out already and in the process of coming up. And obviously, we're live here for just under an hour. Then obviously, 10 past 3, I've got Laurie, LA Sports TV, better known for his work on AFTV. And then I've got Matty, aka Southern Gooner, at 4:10. So content, and more content. The show must go on, win, lose, or draw, trophyless season or not. Now, big up you lot, people. Now, admittedly, selfishly, this is a chance to go over the transfer news to entertain you guys. But obviously, I'm an Arsenal fan. I read a lot of Arsenal news and stuff like that. I actually haven't had a chance to do that this afternoon. So selfishly, we're going to do that together, man. Who said you can't kill 2 or 3 birds with one stone? As I said, smash the like button. Big up you lot already, people. Why waste time? Let me share my screen. Now, I was in the process of... well, I was attempting to, at the very least, going to read an article from The Athletic, and it is titled, Arsenal and Mikel Arteta, what next? We have to prove that we can do it. We have to. When it's all said and done, history is all that matters. We know in the last 3 years, we've had adversity, we've had some good moments, we've had some bad moments, 3 different years from 2022, 23 to now, different reasons and whatnot. Again, you've got to be... I believe in being harsh on the problem and being soft on the people. So I'm not going to do this whole player stuff, the club stuff, Arteta stuff. The bottom line is 3 very different seasons. They've had the same reality where there's been no trophies. That's the underlying factor. That's the ambition. How do we eradicate that? How do we go about bettering ourselves in that regards, people? 1 second. I've just been given a StreamYard alert. Okay, that's just something else. After their elimination in the Champions League semi-finals by PSG this week, it will now be 5 years without a trophy for Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. In the summer of 2020, amid the COVID-19 pandemic, both Arsenal and Liverpool had the strange mischance to lift silverware in an empty stadium. Or maybe it means stadium. Liverpool were crowned Premier League champions in an Anfield devoid of fans, while Arsenal won the FA Cup in a cavernous. We won that, innit? And we all know it. Skipping through all of this, Liverpool have won a bunch of trophies. We are still waiting for major honours since that FA Cup run. We're on course to finish runners-up in the Premier League for the 3rd consecutive season, although if Newcastle United win their next 2 games, they're going to finish 2nd, and that would obviously add into the fact that they'll be in the Champions League and they would have won the League Cup title, ending their 7-year droughts. That would have been a fantastic season. Arteta insists his side are close to glory. We are, but we're so close, but so far we're closer to reaching our dreams than we're further away. But it feels like the same old mistakes are crippling Arsenal and simply put harming Arsenal in our pursuit of such, people. We are there with the amount of points that we generated in the last few seasons, 89 in 2023-24, 2 points behind champions Man City, and 67 with 3 games left this time. We could have 2 Premier Leagues. We're providing the numbers that win you titles. We have to be a little bit luckier or still do better, so nobody has a better season than you. And I don't disagree. In other seasons, that does win you a trophy. But unfortunately, this season, it doesn't win you the Premier League. And also, again, we know the margins are small. Mikel Arteta was once with Pep Guardiola. You know the margins week in, week out. Every game, as cliche as it is in the Premier League, is a cup final. And as much as that's true, and that is a tonic for fans to swallow, and, you know, I do think some Arsenal fans get in this trap of, you know, yeah, these points would have won you the league if everybody stays fit. I guess what I'm referring to is assuming ideal conditions means winning a trophy. That's great. But Liverpool could point to seasons where they've got 90 odd and City pipped them. So, yeah, and for me, have we truly exhausted everything? Did we put our best foot forward in the summer or in the January period, all on the field where we drop points? We've dropped 20 odd points from winning positions. We've got 13, 14 draws. We all know how weak the squad in terms of depth is. Respectfully to the players that have been available, you know, Bukayo Saka is going to be, you know, the burden carrier where the goals are concerned. There's been numerous hamstring injuries. Have we put our best foot forward and equipped the squad? Which is why I say, if anything, I feel sorry for the players, slightly for Mikel Arteta. But where I look at Mikel Arteta and the recruitment staff, I'll be real. You lot have to hold that, if I'm honest with you, man. It's like this comment says here, Burnley came 2nd in the championship with 100 points. It's supposed to be difficult. Exactly that. It's supposed to be difficult. And I just think we've shot ourselves in the foot. We all know the way it goes on. We all know we went out of the Champions League to PSG. And Mikel Arteta, I guess statistically, you could say we've been the best team in the Champions League. But if I look at it on a naive thing, I would trade places with either Inter Milan or Paris Saint-Germain because they're on course to win a Champions League. You could say we were the best team in the Premier League last year, and then you could caveat that with City won it. You could say we was the most entertaining in the league the year before. All that matters is where you start and where you finish. That's the bottom line of it, unfortunately. And we know the goalpost move. You know, Arsenal were invincibles. People talk about draws. People find a way to belittle Liverpool's titles, United's titles, Arsenal's titles, City's titles, and they're well within their rights to do that. But be on then do. They're in history. They've won the trophy, etc. We're live, my boy. We're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. Hi, hi, hi. I don't know why we say hi when it feels awkward. We're live. We're live. We're live. Yeah, smash the like button. We're defo live. We're defo live. So yeah, the data and all of that's great. It makes sense, but boy, we're not doing this. When you look at the important stats that normally give you the best platform to win football matches, it's crystal clear who's better. That's true. But then the one stat that matters, as naive as it is, you got to put the ball in the back of the net more than your opponents and keep them out yours. When it's all said and done, that's how you win football games. Now, we're all not stupid here. We know you could, like, I could be managing a team. You lot could be managing a team. My team win 2-1. And we know within the 90 minutes, we were quote unquote lucky. You lot were better than me. But fundamentally, the bottom line is I got the 3 points. We look at the 38 game calendar. We all know it evens out. Whatever's happened to your team, injuries, all of that jazz, it evens out. Where you start and where you finish, the wins, the losses, and the draws. Now, we all know, like life, football isn't white and black. You're going to lose games you deserve to win. You're going to win when you deserve to lose. You're going to draw when you deserve either more or less from games. And then the majority of the time, you're going to get what you want. We've winged this season. I'm sure we tried to bring in players and whatnot, and cool. But did we? Did we elevate the starting 11? Did we equip the squad? Did we evolve tactically? Are we betting on the same problems? A small squad, the Martinellis and Trossards of this world, expecting them to score the amount of goals we require from the left-hand side, even 50% of what Saka's doing on the right. Again, we've done nonsense, bro. We've done nonsense. We've done absolute nonsense. The underlying data may support Arteta's argument, bro. Data don't win. Well, it does, but it doesn't. Like, football isn't won on spreadsheets and XG and heat maps and stats, bro. You got to put the ball in the back of the net. But his comments nevertheless come across as somewhat defensive. Are they indicative of a manager who is beginning to feel the pressure? Bro, you should always feel the pressure. You should feel the pressure. Arne Slot should feel the pressure. Amarin should feel. Every fucking Premier League manager should feel the pressure. This is the be-all and end-all. And to be honest with you, if I was Mikel Arteta, I would be a bit defensive. But what is pressure, bro? You've survived back-to-back apes, bare things. And now it's first world problems. And this is where it's annoying with Mikel Arteta, because I admire him a lot. If you isolate Mikel Arteta from Arsenal, which you can't, and just bear with me, I admire a lot from his tactics, his aura, his tactics, the way he does things. There's a lot to like about him. And when you look at it, second year for him as a manager in the Champions League, there's been year-on-year progress. Now, unfortunately for you, Mikel Arteta, or for me, I'm an Arsenal fan. So we're doing the Arteta project. We're also trying to get the Arsenal project. He's serving an apprenticeship. At some point, we just need to win trophies. Because I don't necessarily care what Mikel Arteta achieves in his career if it's not at Arsenal. I have no doubt he's going to win stuff. He's got a good, he's got a good foundation. All of the experiences that he's taken at City, at Arsenal up until this point, it's going to take him somewhere. But I only care if you win Prems and Champs at my football club. I don't support Mikel Arteta beyond the fact that he's Arsenal gaffer, right? And that goes to the players, man. If he is, the pressure must come either from external factors, increasing media scrutiny. I mean, it's been a long road, man. If you can survive that whole, I don't know what Arsenal were doing when we bought Benjamin White and Ramsdale, that kind of period, you can survive this. I don't really think the club listened to the noise outside, but at some point, you're going to have to get over the line. Now, where the club's told us everything, because, again, whatever I say about the players and Mikel Arteta, the people above him, exclude Berta because he wasn't about. If you really want to win a trophy or make sure the squad's equipped, I genuinely think you don't have the summer you had with the deadline there. I don't think you have the January period you have. They've given him a new deal. His coaching staff has been given a new deal. Berta's just come in. That tells you everything. This in-out stuff for at least a season or at least a midway point of the deal he signed recently is redundant, people, in my opinion. Arteta is driven by a burning desire for success. Not winning trophies bothers me a lot because I love winning and absolutely hate losing. Within Arsenal, Arteta's position is not under any threat. He retains the support of the board and signed a new 3-year contract last September. In 5.5 years since his appointment, Arsenal have gone from mid-table mediocrity, which is true, to challenging for the biggest prizes domestically. But now you've aroused the imagination of the players, maybe of the manager and of the fans. And ultimately, if you don't get over the line, it's an idiot thing. And even if we won the Prem, a couple of Prems in this 3-year period that I think, and the Champions League, I still think this summer if everything panned out the way it is, regardless, you would still have to do a lot of it. There's big decisions being made, and you lot have to deliver. And if you don't deliver, that will tell me everything. September the 1st will tell me how serious you lot are. But there has been progress. There is first world problems. The trajectory has not always been perfectly linear. Nothing in life is like that where you're chasing success. Arteta admitted Arsenal have gone a step backwards in this season's Premier League, but the overall improvement is inarguable. People want to fight me when I say regression. Some of you say stagnation. The man has basically alluded to regression, people. Anecdotally, most supporters seem to share the view of Arteta as the driving force behind Arsenal's climb back into the elite. Many recognize the trying circumstances he has worked under this season and credit him with managing to steady the ship. Maybe not necessarily this season, but you have steadied the ship. For all the talk among, I don't give a flying monkeys about that. We are close. When speaking about our lack of silverware, he also said, within the league, there have been two main reasons. One is the amount of games and the time that we have played with 10 men, and then the availability of the squad. Let me know your thoughts throughout the 38 games. It's very, very difficult to manage and to have a very strong performance consistently, but we knew this. The guy said on 3-4 occasions last year, we've got one of the smallest squads. What was done in summer or in January? We dropped a lot of points. We dropped a lot of points when we were ahead as well, which is something that really needs to improve. But when I say it, I'm a hater. And within the Champions League, maybe we lacked when we had to change the game in certain moments and have that freshness. We were unable to do that. The players available is one thing. The injuries is another. The recruitment is another. And also, Mikel Arteta, you have to be able to pivot. There is clarity around how Arsenal must improve. The Champions League is decided in the boxes. In one of the two boxes, someone has to do something special to win it for you, and to make it happen, that was the difference. But you lot must have known this, because when we went out against a blind man could see this. But when we went out against Bayern Munich, what did we hear? We need players with X Factor. Who came in the summer with X Factor? There you have it, people. That analysis will be familiar to Arsenal fans. This was Arteta speaking after last season's elimination against Bayern Munich. It was a game that you could see either an error or an individual or magic moment that would decide the tie. The margins are small. We didn't defend our box well at all in that action, and we ended up throwing everything and trying everything and not having enough to score. If nothing changes, man. The clock is ticking for these guys to deliver success. I know how much they're still hurting. Now we have to show fight and how much we care about what is happening and what we still have to achieve, which is a big thing because we haven't done it yet. We have to prove that we can do it. We all know we've opened talks around William Saliba to sign a new deal, and also Gabriel Magalhaes, people. So it is what it is in that regards, man. Arsenal showed character is essential for them, and Arteta, they didn't crumble. Big us up for the comeback against Liverpool in that. And this again, I was going to read this, but I'm not going to bore you lot, man. You know, Arsenal came close to Champions League final with an incomplete squad. They need to strengthen. Is it courageous, or is it stupidity, or is it a bit of both? And this is why I don't feel sorry for the players, because I'll be real. A lot of players have been running to the ground. They've been put in positions where they're just not good enough to get us over the line. And I can criticize their ability. I can question why they're at the club. I can't question, for me, the players, whether I rate them or not, their willingness to want to do this. I think they've put in a bloody shift. Man, have been injured. Players that are nowhere near the level of Arsenal have stepped in and done quite well. I feel sorry for you lot. And this is the, 2022-23, we're just focused on top four. Cool. We had a title challenge. It didn't work. Last year, it was everyone was going to improve. We were a fluke. We were going to do this. Cool. You did what you needed to do. Had a crap summer, had a crap January. And this is the year where the bubble has to be popped internally. Like, oof, we're not as bad as people make out, but we're also not as good. That's genuinely what I think about Arsenal. I think that for the manager and the players, they're definitely not as good as Arteta sexual makes out. And we're not as perfect as people make out. And the solutions are not as simple as people make out. We're definitely not as shit as people make out. It's that grey area that we're in. And this is why we're stagnating. Do we want to go up the levels, or do we want to regress? If we go back to my videos in the summer, I said we're either going to go up several levels or we're going to regress. And the saddest thing is we've got two bloody semi-finals. Tim, big up yourself, man. Respect. Opinions on Schmeichel calling Arteta a control freak and questioning whether it's good for your players. I think generally, in terms of Mikel Arteta's evolution, if I was him, and it's easy for me to say, you need to keep being stubborn. You need to keep your ethos and stuff. But I think this is a season for everyone to learn. I think he has to learn to trust his squad, to kind of change things in games, to rotate. And also, I'd say in the final third, to take the take the handbrake off, to literally take the handbrake off and have that freedom within a framework. You look at Arne Slot with Mo Salah. Obviously, Salah said to him, listen, I know you want me to go backwards, but if you allow me a bit, I'll make the difference in the final third. So naturally, I think it's that. DG, you're saying Arsenal have regressed where exactly? Premier League, you look at the points tally, you look at the amount of draws, you look at the amount of points dropped from winning positions, You look at players stagnating on the field. I don't need to get into the individuals. You know who is not performing. I don't think Arteta has evolved. I don't think the squad's evolved. I think you look at the 2022-23 season, blisteringly good going forward, and defensive improvements. Last year, set pieces in both. That's another one. We've regressed in set pieces as well. Go and look at in the Premier League. Go and look at in the Premier League how many goals we've conceded from set pieces. We're up there. We're up there. But yeah, the amount of draws, the amount of points dropped from winning positions, the amount of points on the board, you know, the amount of, again, 2020, as I was saying, 2022-23, blisteringly good going forward. Last year, very good defensively. And I know there's some statistics that were still there and whatnot. What are we blisteringly better at this year? What are we known for? As I said, the first year I was referring to, we were known as one of the best attacking sides. Last year, known as one of the greatest defensive sides. This year, in comparison to ourselves, not others, where are we? Where are we? Where are we? We're carried. Let's be real. We've carried too many players this season. They have to get their form together, but I think it's naive. You don't know me. I love Martinelli. I think people are quite harsh on Trossard, but I think it's naive if you think them two are starters in this current present form. They can contribute, but if you think that's going to get us over the line, there's no one that does what Saka does on the left-hand side, or even at a push 50%. You know, you've got to look at it as well. We'll probably owe a lot of these hamstring injuries. You look at the amount of games for club and country, a lot of our players have played it. I think it's quite clear. And yeah, we've shown resilience. We've crumbled, but we haven't quite crumbled with the injuries and the refereeing decisions, etc. But how far does that go? I'm not an idiot. I think they tried to do whatever they tried to do in the summer, but for whatever reason, I big you up for trying. It never happened. In the same way you've tried to win the league, you haven't done it. 3 years, 3 very different kind of seasons and good and bad moments, but the overriding factor is we have not won the league. How do we go around that? I think recruitment's one thing. I think Arteta's got to evolve his tactics. I think Arteta's got to evolve as a manager for himself. I actually think, probably a slight exaggeration, but I actually think for Mikel Arteta as a manager, this is the year for you where you're going to learn a lot about yourself. I think you would have learned a lot this year, man. Or his peak for your star boy. He might have competition on the wing next season. Which one? You need competition, bro. We want competition everywhere. This season, Timo screwed over with questionable decision by a mile. That doesn't help morale. Either feels like a stacked deck. Of course, refereeing decisions have done us dirty, but how far does that go? Because referees have done us dirty, but there's been numerous games where we could have killed it. And at a push, and I'm not backing the refs, but we went into the season knowing the refs are on fuckery. We know how they judge Arsenal. Goes back to the George Graham days. And in our hearts, honestly, in our hearts, we know the refereeing decisions are bookie. But in them 90-minute games, have we done enough? Have we? The 2 games against Brighton, marred by refereeing decisions. We should have killed off the games, man. If they aren't starters, then why they're here? So if they end up having to start games, we are weaker. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. But yeah, referee decisions only go somewhere. Big DG, big up. What do you think of the disgraceful act of booing Trent because it means more? I've spoken about it yesterday. I think fans are allowed to do what they want. If you want to boo him. I think it's sour taste. And I think for Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think it just further confirms beyond the obvious, it's the right decision. Because people don't love you. They love what you do. They don't love the fact. They love the fact that you're a good player. You came from the academy. They don't love you. They don't. The minute you want to do something that doesn't align with people, and that goes for all football fans, they don't care. But for Trent, when it's all said and done, I think the majority of the Liverpool fans, they'll understand it. It's very different Trent leaving Liverpool, I feel, than if, like, I don't know, Saka. Let's say, well, you could say Saliba and that, but in terms of academy prospect, Saka, because Saka ain't achieved, he ain't won us Prems and champs. We haven't collectively achieved it. Trent's done it all. And the man's going Madrid, new experience, whatever. When it's all said and done, Trent, you can have no regrets. Even if the Madrid thing doesn't work out, you wanted to do it. You've played for Madrid. You've won a bunch of things. Fans are going to do what they want. They don't like you. They like what you can do, what you do for them. He's not the first and he's not the last player that will happen to you, man. You know, football's quite tribal, man. Do we really need to keep right? This is upsetting, isn't it? Arsenal squad arrived in Paris incomplete. It's just another case of what if, man. There's good, there's bad, and there's ugly, man. In the Champions League, we did better than last season. Yeah, we got to the semis, but not where we want to be because we wanted to win it. Fair play. In the Premier League, we've made a step backwards with the points we've created. It's clear we haven't done as well as last season. Somebody asked me, Gaffer said it. Who better than the man himself? Arsenal have gone backwards in the league. That's what the Gaffer himself said. In the Premier League, we have gone backwards with the points that we have created. It's clear that we have not done as good as last season. But with the amount of points that we generated in the last few seasons, we could have won 2 Premier League titles. So you know how close we are. We are providing the numbers that win you titles. And that's the thing that annoys me in that, you know, we've back to back. I always say we got first world problems. I am not saying this to cut anybody at this football club, smash the like button, any excuses. But we've come a long way from bottling top 4, back to back apes, the trenches, the real, we're still in the trenches and we still haven't reached the promised land. We are literally closer to achieving what we want to achieve than we are further away. And the thing that jars me is you lot have collectively as a club, you lot have done not all the hard work, but you've done all the hard work. And it's just, you like the door's there, just one little thing and we're gone and we're kind of messing about. We rested on our laurels in the summer and we were made to pay for it, man. But it is what it is. One thing that annoys me is we never seize the present. We don't seize the present. Yes, I don't think the manager in isolation is wrong. The points we have had in previous years wins us the league this year, but no 2 seasons are alike. I said it earlier. Liverpool have got 90 plus points. They've actually not won the league with more points in previous years than now. When opportunities provide themselves in the current moment, we don't do whatever. People can chat shit about Real Madrid. We found ourselves in a good situation. I don't know if anyone expected us to make the semi-finals, but we did. I don't know if 2022, 23 people expected us to be in a fight. And yes, we didn't get over the line, but we kind of we failed at the final hurdle, but we seized the moment. I don't know if Slot genuinely thought Liverpool could win the league this year. Once it became something tangible, they went for it. The same goes for anyone that is in any final or has won anything. And that's what we need, man. Let's put our best foot forward. Arsenal's statistical victories only had some very obvious flaws. Fair play. I'm not even going to read this, but I don't think anyone could disagree with that. The main focus at Arsenal will be on a forward, and those within the club say there are now so many options that there is no excuse. I agree with that. The huge wage Arsenal ready to offer Viktor Gyokeres to persuade him of a move to the Emirates over Man United. Arsenal will make Viktor Gyokeres one of the club's highest earners should they convince him to which? Or do they mean switch Sporting Lisbon for the Emirates this summer? According to report, I mean, 26 years of age, you know, if you're going to move to Arsenal or Man United, pardon me, you want to get a decent fee, a decent wage, do you not? I don't know about one of the highest earners, maybe top 5. You'd imagine if he hasn't signed it already, whatever Saka is going to get, Saliba's going to get. I'm missing someone else out, Saka, Saliba. Maybe Magalhaes, these are going to be near the highest earners. And to be fair, Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz are still there. Mikel Arteta's side will be in the market for a new striker during the upcoming window, with the Swede emerging as the most likely target. Though the Gunners will face considerable competition from the likes of Manchester United and Atletico Madrid, 2 clubs that, in addition to us making it free, always linked with Gyokeres. Sporting are believed to be demanding a fee in excess of £70 million for the 26-year-old who has netted 95 goals in 95, bro, this person didn't even proofread any of this. 95 goals in 100 goals for the Portuguese side, 100 games. I do think there's an exchange rate. I don't think you're going to have, they're not abnormal, but abnormal goal scoring records. But I do think you could get a decent return. And I know people do all this, oh, we need this sort of striker and the low blocks and the Mikel Arteta system. I hear that. These are valid claims. But certain men that are not strikers are scoring goals and have scored goals for the last 2 years. We really think a certified forward that is 26 years of age, understands his job, is not going to bag goals. And I'm not saying this without claim, but remember what I said about the it's 14 draws now. I'm not saying we'd be perfect, but I do think there is we've got better at it, but I still don't think, like that we slug out. Not that I ever want us to play poor, but we need to work on just slugging out games when we've been shit. Pardon my language. That is an element. I guarantee you, if you ask Klopp, Slot, Wenger, Alex Ferguson, Conte, there's probably 5 or 6 games across a 38-game calendar where the tactics have been shit, the players have been shit, individual brilliance has just nicked them. You know, even if we were all the things we're talking about, that 13, 14 draws, if we nicked a couple of wins there, how differently are we looking at the point that we gained at Anfield or whatever? But you lot get where I'm going, but it'd be lit. Did I click something there? Oh, gosh. Apologies, folks. Let's go back. Where were we? We're here. According to Portuguese outlet Ebola, personally, people, I don't know how credible they are. The North London club have carried out a survey. Well, stop carrying out surveys inside the blood club guy. But anyways, that Gyokeres reps are aware of, which includes a generous yearly package of 8.3 million euros in brackets 7 million net. It's decent, isn't it? That would put the striker's gross weekly salary in the region of 240k a week and place him among the club's highest earners, trailing only Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus. Now, I'm not no finance man, and we hear PSR's all right, but I don't know what's going to go on with Partey, but there's talk of Partey signing a new deal, Trossard signing a new deal. Obviously, what we're reading now with Gyokeres, Kai Havertz earns a pretty penny. Gabriel Jesus ain't going nowhere for at least a year at the very minimum, people, as we know this. Saliba and Saka, as well as Magalhaes, you hope they sign new deals. There's a lot of, I don't think Berta's going to sleep a wink this summer. You know, there's bare things to do. I'm not expecting us to do everything, but we've got a lot to do. Berta and his sub team, they got a lot to do. Jason Ito, anything Berta needs, make sure you listen. Bro, fucking hell, we got a lot to do, ain't we, people? So yeah. Additionally, the report out of Portugal claims that Arsenal are willing to offer a 4 to 5 year contract. I can't lie, man. Who is this? Ton Balogun, come on, bro. You're just too rushing to get these things out, man. Come on. While no formal offer has been submitted to Sporting yet, a move for Gyokeres is now considered to be more realistic and cost-effective than a pursuit of Newcastle's Alexander Isak, who has been linked with the Gunners. We know we crashed out. We know we need a front line. Apparently, internally, views are torn on whether Gyokeres can hit the ground running in the Premier League, as the Primera Liga is a different proposition, even though he has 38 league goals this season. Sevillian international Benjamin Sesko is another name in the frame. He's been aggressively linked with Chelsea at this moment in time. He has 26 goals this campaign, and at 21 years old, presents an ideal profile for future growth. The Gunners have also previously done much of the groundwork on a potential Sesko deal. The other avenue Arsenal are looking to secure is the key spine of their current team. The contracts of Bukayo Saka, William Saliba, and Gabriel Magalhaes all expire in 2 years, which will alert clubs across Europe. The club are relaxed about the contract situation of Bukayo Saka, who they expect will sign a new long-term deal this summer. It is the Saliba situation where there's apprehension. Real Madrid are keen on the Frenchman and have started to ramp up their public interest in him. Real Madrid greedy, innit? Linked with Hoyson. They're starting flirting with Konate. Obviously, I think Saliba's going to end up there one day. Hope he signs a new deal. But at some point, and I'm not saying this summer, but the summer of 2025 or 2026, you're going to have to make a decision, and it is what it is. We know his motivation is winning trophies, but yeah, man. Well, we're going to get around 70 points instead of 89 last year, so there you go. DG, would you sell Saliba for 120 and buy Gurhi for 60? I mean, Saliba for 120 million. I think that's about right, really and truly. In relation to Gurhi, I'm not sure, man. XGFC coach to win FC. I can't lie, I hate the coaching win stuff, man, if I'm honest with you, man. I hate it. And for me, I don't want to exaggerate, but we're gonna need Berta to be the most talismanic figure we've had in terms of a director since David Dean. Clearly, whether I rate Mikel Arteta or not, the guy's staying here. He clearly needs help. And the ability to pivot, because you've got this manager who's got us somewhere, made a lot of mistakes. You got a bit of, I think people above him have been clueless, and I want to see how this works. I want to see, like, obviously you could say the director's above the manager or in line with what we know about Arteta says him, but it's I always felt of like if the Cronkies were the dad, like if Arsenal was a family and Josh Kroenke, Stan Kroenke were whichever one was the dad, you got two sons in Mikel Arteta and Edu. I think Mikel Arteta is the son, that the more golden child, if that makes sense. Now, if Berta comes in, are you betting on the same way you bet on Mikel Arteta to be your shining light as a manager? Are you betting on Berta? Are they two golden boys? And give or take, Arteta might make noise about this one. Berta needs to be able to push back on certain things. Because I'm not against Mourinho. I actually think Kai Havertz is judged quite harshly, but I think the moves in the summer have to make sense. If we do what needs to be done, address the squad, get Zubimendi over the line, get some real options in midfield, get the attacking options we need, make sure the depth's there, sort out the goalies. If there's money going spare and outgoings and contracts, if there's money going spare, by all means, Mikel Arteta, you want another Fabio Vieira, Kai Havertz, Mourinho, go do your thing. Everything needs to make sense. I need a striker who scores goals. You can do the dropping deep and all of that crap. We need to go back to basics. Dons need to be able to score goals. Defenders need to be able to defend. Centre mids need to want the ball, because too many players have been carried. The burden of the 1, 2, 3, 4 exaggeration players that are consistent, there's too much on their shoulders. The Sakas, the Rices, I'll actually say Raya, vast majority of our defenders. Bro, no one man is going to get us to where we need to go. So listen, we need to hold this season and keep it moving. I'm not against Sesko. I'm not going to lie. Gyokeres would be the one for me, because I just want to take a gamble, and I just feel I like the way Berta's moving now. I've never had a conversation with him, but the fact that I haven't seen an interview, in Berta we trust, as I keep saying, like I see a 26-year-old links with Gyokeres. You want to keep Trossard, allegedly you want to keep Partey. it just feels like right now, Mo, these guys are like, it's kind of now or never for these players, if you get what I mean. Never stop future proof and never stop thinking about tomorrow, but it always feels like we're building and building and building and we're never quite seizing stuff. And in what I would describe as the most flattening year of the 3 years we've been in these kind of conversations, and I'm not happy about being in these things in isolation, but you've got to 2 semi-finals. You choked against Newcastle, shut the bed against PSG in the first leg. League, boy, the league is the least said about that, the better. Like, there's still, this is what I mean, is like it's a mixed bag. I don't feel it's as terrible. I don't feel it's as great as people are making out. And I guess what I'm looking for is self-inflicted frustration, man. But yeah, get these guys over the line, man. Arsenal have made Gyokeres their top striker target for the summer transfer window. Allegedly, sources have told Football Insider. I think this is equating the same thing. Imagine earning 8 million euros or 7 million quid a year after tax. It must be nice. Smash the like button and subscribe, people. I might buy certain players for ourselves one day. There's rumors around Kiwior signing a new deal and equally being linked with several other clubs. Let me know your thoughts, people, because I'm a bit torn. I'm going to be a hypocrite. I keep talking about squad. And I've said, you know, Kiwior, to be fair, you've proved me wrong. Like, I always thought you were cool for the squad. And I've said before, and I maintain, if you want to stay in your little role and these things, I don't mind it. But you've impressed me. You know, you've got a... And this is, again, going back to what I said, why I don't blame the players. I don't think we should ever be in a reality where Kiwior is another run-in where Kiwior's here. But I think you stood up tall. You've got confidence. You're doing your thing. I think you're a good option at centre-half to have in the squad. And I'm cool if you want to stay. But this, away from this run that Kiwior's got in, he seems to be one of our only players that, quote unquote, has a market. Whether they're going to buy him or not, he's always linked with, every now and again, couple Spanish clubs, couple French clubs, aggressively linked with Italian clubs. Maybe it's creative journalism, I don't know. But yeah, like, he seems like one of the only, you know, it's all fun and games saying sell Kai Havertz, sell Gabriel Jesus, sell Zinchenko, sell Trossard, they do this, do that, sell Kiwior even. I know the recent run might change things, but people have got to want to buy them. And based on reports, it seems like Kiwior actually has a market. Now, going back to what I said, I think this is a year where Arteta is going to learn a lot about himself. I mean, I think the guy wants a bigger squad. He cried about it several times last season, and his recent comments in recent weeks suggest that, right? But I also think, like, I'm just painting a picture. Maybe using that in isolation. Maybe Kiwior could have got more minutes. Maybe using Zinni. Maybe just being a bit cute and clever. Like, maybe not. You can't just keep having the same certain 11. But then you look at Ainsley Maitland-Niles, right, people? Remember when it was like he was leaving, when we won the FA Cup or Community Shield or whatever, he got into the team. It looked like, yeah, you're going to be an Arsenal player now. There was 30 million bids, I believe, from Wolves and Everton. We didn't do it at the time, which, again, I didn't want him to go, so it was cool. But at the end of the day, it kind of reverted back to type. I guess what I'm trying to ask you lot is, do you sell Kiwior when his stocks are high? Apparently, Kiwior's even linked with a new deal. Arsenal have not given up on persuading Kiwior to stay and have indicated to the players' camp that they are willing to offer him a new contract on improved terms. Kiwior has wanted to leave Arsenal for some time now. Fair enough. Game time's been hard to come by. And if everybody's fit, I don't know how much Kiwior plays. Now, he's probably changed the manager's thinking, but, you know, Calafiori can play centre-half. Benjamin White can play centre-half. Tomiyasu, if he's played 6 minutes, is criminal, isn't it? Tommy, I love you, but you got one more season. If these men are fit, and also Timber, maybe it's changed a bit now, but could you argue these lot are more likely to get a go at centre-half over Kiwior? I don't blame him for wanting to leave and stuff. You want to play games. Maybe the fact that he's played in big games, he's playing on a regular basis. This is why the man don't want to be ballers, isn't it? And I don't want to say it's as good as it gets for Kiwior, especially if you're linked with Inter and Juventus, some serious clubs, but equally you're linked with a couple clubs that are not on Arsenal's level. So you got a sweet gig. But it can't be nice not playing. Like, it is what it is. But he's wanted to leave for some time, and he also recognizes Magalhaes' first choice. It's understood Kiwior's run in the first team has only heightened his determination to seek regular football elsewhere next season. What would you lot do with Kiwior? And Arsenal have now gone unbeaten in 746 days in the Premier League, beat the Big Six. Remember when these games was a rival? And that's what pees me off about this club. I'm not here to say we're the biggest and baddest and we're better than everyone, but bro, we're a fucking good team. If we would just... You just want to grab everybody's ears. If we would just do if Mikel Arteta would just arrest everything he needs to arrest from a tactical point of view, do what we need to do in the transfer market. I'm still not even saying we'll win stuff, but just put your best foot forward. I'd like to think I'm a fair man. I think if I left in the summer, like if the summer window closed and I felt we had the depth and we still had these injuries and everything happened, I would then say to the club, you know what? Fair enough. I think that's unlucky. I think it only further highlights our incompetence. Yes, it's been harsh, but we didn't put our best foot forward. We really didn't. We really didn't in the market. And January told me above Mikel Arteta, I would say, not to excuse him. I'm not gonna and excluding Berta because you weren't here. The January period told me everything I needed to know about how serious you lot are. I know there's PSR things, and I know I'm not a fly on the wall. I don't know about we tried and whatnot. But as a common armchair expert, there's no way you looked at that squad and thought, yeah, from January to May, it is what it is. Bare hamstring injuries. There's got to be a correlation between Martinelli getting a hamstring injury, Bukayo Saka getting a hamstring injury, Declan Rice getting a hamstring injury. Someone help me out. There's someone else. Kai Havertz, the man played a lot of football. I ain't no physio, but we're not. And this is again where I feel sorry for the players. Like I genuinely feel sorry for the players. If anything, I genuinely feel sorry for the players. It's not fair on them. Points and titles won from the last 3, bro. Shit, man. Shit. Declan Rice missed the trip to Liverpool on Sunday with a muscle injury believed to be a hamstring strain. It's understood Rice is recovering, and while there's hope the injury is not serious, club medics will not take any unnecessary risks with the player. I mean, to have no Marino, no Declan Rice against Newcastle, where Newcastle have had our number and their midfield is brazy, boy. Rice, I've always had respect for you, but bro, you've played with a broken toe, hamstring knock. I don't think there's a player at Arsenal or any club that's played significant football. Like, you know, the main players, like I see Newcastle fans, United fans here, all them dons that play the majority of games. I very much doubt there is half of the majority of everybody's squad. People are carrying little knocks and niggles, and you look at it now, these players are not going to get to rest mentally, especially if you're effing off to the Club World Cup. Before we know it, the fixture list is back. You got a World Cup next year. Something needs to be done about player welfare, but they don't care. The fat cats that decide the game that me, you, everybody love, they're not going to change these things. Our last 11 games, it's dark, man. The West Ham game, I remember that. The draw against Forest. If I had to describe these all as one word, frustrating, deflating, what would I say? United. Fortunate, if I'm honest. Normal, frustrating. Points drop from winning position, light work, points drop from winning position, frustrating. Points drop from winning position, frustrating. Courageous, I would say, in that second half. I actually don't think we was as bad as Mikel Arteta was saying in his press conference, if I'm honest with you, which it's a bit mad, because sometimes I think it's when it's called for him to be harsher, he's actually cut a lot more excuses. We ain't lost to Liverpool in the Premier League for the third successive season, but we ain't won at Anfield in 13 years. And I'm going to say it in the summer, I always say I want to win at Anfield, man. That's one game I want to win, man. Like, Anfield and Newcastle away, man. I want to go to these grounds and think that we can do something. I think we've actually come a long way, because remember what year was it Zinchenko was crying at Anfield? I don't feel that atmosphere, nothing to do with Liverpool, but I don't feel the atmosphere thing plays a part anymore, if I'm honest with you, against us. But yeah, 6 red cards, mad thing. Clearly the refs are on some BS, but boy, how many were potentially avoidable? I'm not going to get into it. I'll leave that with you. Ornstein says Arsenal may have changed their mind about a striker in relation to Sesko, I bet. Arsenal's recruitment plans are vast, and at the top of the list is a number 9. There are fewer of them on the market than they would like, but there are some options. Alexander Isak, I stopped mentioning Isak now, people, man. I would love the guy, but it's a myth. Alexander Isak, of course, and Arsenal really like him, but I don't think that's realistic for them or anybody else. Then they look at the likes of Benjamin Sesko. They've done a lot of work on him, but I do think they have some reservations around him, maybe on the price, maybe on the player. Surely it's got to be about the price. But he remains in the mix, as does Viktor Gyokeres of Sporting. Huge reports from myself and others about him. You're going to have to get someone. Like, bro, not everyone can get everyone, and it don't seem like anyone's got a free hit anyone. Like, everybody wants Hugo Ekitike, everyone wants Gyokeres, everyone wants Sesko, everyone wants Isak, but we know why that one's a myth. By all means, sell your project, try dot I's and cross T's, but make sure, and all I ask, I always say it every summer, I'll obviously make videos and humor you lot and talk with you lot. If we don't get XYZ, fair enough. But once it comes to September the 1st and the market closes, all I ask as a humble fan, please make sure I see a striker. I need to see a left winger. I need to see midfield addressed. I need to feel like we've got the bodies to cope with competing in 4 competitions. And if not, as I said last summer, I feel sorry for the players because they don't sign no one. I feel sorry for the fans because we don't make no decisions. I won't feel sorry for you, Mikel Arteta, because at the end of the day, you signed a new deal. So you believe you can, whether you've been done dirty or not, you believe you can achieve whatever. And not even extend that to Berta. You lot have to hold that, the good and the bad, even if somehow we go and win. But yeah, man, we at this point we're repeating the same things. Apparently, Berta is a long-term admirer of Gyokeres people. He wanted him when he was at Atletico Madrid, and even Berta, maybe not so much this season, but like I remember when Atletico Madrid brought in a Finnish Luis Suarez and he made them win the league. If there's them market opportunities, whoever that would be, random Joe Blogs, when we find ourselves like in January dying for a forward, but Berta, that's your cash money. Arsenal would like to renew Thomas Partey's contract and the midfielder would like to stay, but it is yet to be known if they will reach an agreement, folks. Romano, if this would load, I could tell you exactly what he said. It's going to be a very huge and important summer at Arsenal. A new striker, of course, we know about that, but I'm told Arsenal will also bring in a new winger for sure. That's the intention. They are also looking at defenders and more. Unpopular opinion, I want a defender. You lot killed me for that a few months ago. You're not laughing now, are you? Smash the likes. I've said this too much, but Arsenal apparently have bidded 1.25 million for Chelsea and England under 18 goalkeeper Freddie Bernal. The Blues rejected the offer for the 16-year-old and remain clear on their stance that they would like to keep him, with several other clubs interested. We've gone over the Kivio stuff. I won't bore you lot again. Apparently would like him to stay. Although Juventus and Inter Milan both want to sign him this summer, allegedly, and Marseille are also considering an offer, people. Ornstein spoken about defenders and the left-back area of our football pitch. There may be a left-back who comes in at all, with Tierney leaving and Zinchenko available for transfer. Allegedly, Cunha's reps have scheduled meetings with both Arsenal and Newcastle, although he still favours a move to United. You never know. I mean, Berta's cross paths with him at Atletico Madrid. Maybe the agent of Cunha is playing Newcastle and Arsenal's interest off against United to get a better contract. But if he's made up his mind and he favours a move to United, obviously plans can change. But I don't really buy that. Like, you just need to pattern up the deal. You need to pattern up and head to Old Trafford. Now, if Liverpool, City and Spurs have made Ryan Cherky inquiries, why can't we? Now, I don't feel Liverpool as much of a high pressing side as they were on the clock with Slot, but it's still elements of that. Man City, you know, with Pep, micro, a bit like Arteta, and that's why I'm happy to see City's name there, micromanage. If Pep, and we don't know if this is it, people, but if Pep Guardiola thinks, yo, individual stardust quality could do all of that, I may be able to coach him to do the collective stuff I need. Brother, this guy, bro, like, it's easier to learn all of that high pressing stuff than it is to have the stardust. But like Ryan Cherky at 21, the pennies finally dropped. You don't know I'm a big fan of his. We're not gonna get him, but bro, 22.5 million. Berta, please, man. Berta, please, man. Berta, please, man. Get it done, man. Bring that to the carpet, man. He was on the cusp of signing for PSG. He also apparently opted to almost join Borussia Dortmund. Liverpool, PSG, City, Spurs have all made inquiries. He'll come relatively cheap. When Cherky opted to extend with Lyon last summer, it was agreed that he could leave this summer for a fee of just 22.5 million euros. So what's that? About 18, 19 million. The agreement will have to be honored by Lyon. Otherwise, there would be further penalties. Given their well-known financial issues, that is something they can't afford. Could we go for Malik Fofana as well? We're still linked with Rafa Leao, people. Apparently, Berta's a fan, and he comes with a price tag of 100 million euros, but you'll already know about that. Arsenal are working hard to sign Chelsea midfielder Andrey Santos ahead of PSG. I don't buy it for what it's worth, but he's doing very good at Strasbourg. Shout out to Liam Rosiner. Shout out to a lot of, they got a very young, well, they got a couple of young players, and they got a lot of decent little wild card players, if I'm honest with you. I think Palace have been linked with, is it Ernest? A couple little wild cards that people could take chances on there, and he's having a revelation. Surely Chelsea don't want to sell him to us. Surely they want to at least give him an opportunity. And it'd be interesting because if he carries this on, I don't know with Carlo Ancelotti who he's going to favour in the World Cup squad, but he's putting his best foot forward for obvious reasons. I think it's easy to link us with centre mids. I think it's easy to link Arsenal and Chelsea with doing business, a bit like in Conquer, etc. Going back to, you know, the Kai Havertz's, the Jorginhos, the list goes on. Le 10 Sport claim Arsenal are working hard to sign Santos and are expecting a transfer battle with PSG this summer. It remains to be seen whether Chelsea are open to selling Santos, but that could be tempted if they are able to make a significant profit on a player they signed 2 years ago. I don't buy it for what it's worth, people. Arsenal and Chelsea are on alert ahead of the summer transfer window, with Rodrigo now desperate to leave Real Madrid, adamant he will not play for the club again. Apparently, he's actually injured, and Vinicius, so technically their season's done. He's got 13 assists and 13 goals, and 10 assists in 50 appearances. Marca report the 24-year-old has grown increasingly frustrated with the media explosion around Bellingham and Mbappe. Brother, I'm not going to lie. Rodrigo, the left wing's yours. If it was up to me, you get a lot of game time in Odegaard's role, you know. I think he'd cook in the 10, but yeah, man. Cherky in the 10, Rodrigo on the left, Saka on the right, Gyokeres up front, and obviously all the players around the squad. We could be all right. So what's his primary motivation? Is it because, and again, he's not going to leave until at least Xabi Alonso's verified that and had a conversation with him. Maybe he feels a bit left out and he don't get the love of the Mbappes, the Vinicius Juniors, the Jude Bellinghams, etc., etc. I'm not sure. It's claimed they'll want 100 million euros, which equates to 85 million. Now, I can't see us spending 85 million on Rodrigo and 70 odd on Gyokeres, in addition to, 50, 60 on Zubimendi. I mean, if Arteta gets his way, 30 odd million quid on the goalkeeper, and the left back's probably going to come in as well. I don't know if our budget stretches like that. Now, obviously, I don't work for Arsenal. Who knows? Real Madrid will have no shortage of takers if they decide to cash in. Chelsea, Liverpool and City have been linked with a summer move, while earlier this month, Arsenal made contact with the Spanish giants to inquire in a summer deal. Arsenal already thought to have wrapped up a deal to sign Martin Zubimendi. A striker is a top priority. You know, Gyokeres, Sesko. Liam Delap apparently is close to joining Man United, if you read reports today, people. Speaking of forwards, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Juventus, United and Napoli are all apparently considering a move for Paris Saint-Germain striker Gonzalo Ramos. Arsenal are reportedly willing to spend over 125 million to sign Newcastle striker Alexander Isak. Fair enough. This is our new kit. What are you lot saying for this kit? Apparently, Arsenal will launch their home kit for the 2025-26 season later this week and are expected to wear it for the final home game of the season against Newcastle on Sunday. Football London understands. Shout out, Tom. Imagine, do you think we'd win the league with this starting 11? Gyokeres through the middle, Saka on the right, Williams on the left, Rice, Zubimendi, and Odegaard in midfield. Raya obviously in goal. Timber, Lewis Skelly as the fullbacks. Gabriel Magalhaes and William Saliba as centre halves. Arsenal and Liverpool are currently the front runners to sign Dean Huijsen, while Real Madrid also remain keen. A decision on the player's future is expected soon. Huijsen's 50 million release clause can be paid in 3 installments. What's 50 divided by 3, people? Help me. Help me. I ain't going to sit and act like I could do that, man. The home kit is fire, DG. Not with Odegaard in the team, DG. I know. Unfortunately, we probably don't. Only with a striker, we are more efficient our attacking play. Long sleeve is clean. Ramos stinks. The brother tweeted he'd never leave Madrid for any reason, but he's moving every summer. DG, at which point do you think we sack Arteta next season? Honestly, I don't have a clue, man, because as long as it's a mixed bag of a season where, you know, if we have another year where we don't win a trophy, I think the question marks will rise. But, you know, for every reason to sack him, there's going to be reasons to keep him. Honestly, I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't have a clue, man. I do think, again, you're a good manager. Are you a winning manager? I always say this. You're a good manager. Are you a winning manager? You can't say he's a winning manager until you get over the line. Every year you do not do that. Comes out the man's mouth pores himself that he wants to win. Every year you don't do that. The question is going to get bigger and bigger. And at some point, if nothing changes, people. Arsenal, again, apparently the front runners. Liverpool and Real Madrid remain keen on the centre half. He did score against us, did well. I'd have him, if I'm honest with you. Apparently, he's ready to give up higher wages offered by the Premier League in order to join Real Madrid, people. Real Madrid want to sign Huijsen in the next 2 weeks. They also want Konate as a free agent in 2026. And I very much doubt their interest in Saliba is going away. These men are greedy. This is the greed they talk about in all the religious books. Not sure if this is relevant to you, me, or anyone, but nonetheless, the transfer deadline is moving to 7 p.m. this summer, 4 hours earlier than previously. I mean, let's hope I hope we have a boring deadline day where we've just done what we needed to do. This change has come with the backing of the Premier League to ensure a more normal working pattern for those involved in admin. Arsenal have been open to selling Zinchenko in the last 2 transfer windows, but it looks extremely likely he'll leave this summer. A few clubs have already made contact to sign the Ukrainian. it's like texting a girl, does she want to link up or not? Get the guys out, man. I know it's easier said than done. And Berta, I feel sorry for you because you and your team, you're not getting a whiff of sleep this summer. Big up BG, no more leftovers. I hear it. Rodrigo reportedly refused to play in the Clasico on the weekend and would like to leave Madrid. Apparently, he was injured. The Brazilian feels in the shadow of Mbappe and Bellingham. He feels he's not being valued and is being confined to his home for the past few days, upset by a situation. Give us a call, mate. Williams makes Premier League decision. Nico Williams has decided he wants to move to the Premier League this summer, according to reports in Spain. Make up your mind. 1 minute I want to stay at Bilbao because they're in Europa and then they're in the champs, and then I want to wait for Barcelona. Then I want 400 grand a week. Then I'm going to sign a lifetime contract at Bilbao. Then I'm going to move to Arsenal. Now Chelsea are onto me, Liverpool onto me, Bayern Munich onto me. To be fair, the man himself is not saying this, but this is what I was saying. Till man are holding shirts, how far does this go? We all know he's been linked with several moves. Apparently, he's now reportedly made it clear he wants to leave La Liga in order to challenge himself in England. We did hear, allegedly, Berta spoke to his advisors. Chelsea, Arsenal, Barca, all linked. Not sure on the credibility of this publication, but he's eager for a change of scenery and wants to secure a move to the Premier League this summer. The 22-year-old is reportedly open to extending his stay at Athletic if they qualify for next season's Champions League, which looks increasingly likely. But a move to England is seen as extremely appealing. They want, boy, if I was Bilbao, I'd get you to sign a new deal, man. I'd be gaslighting the hell out of you because that 50 million can turn into 100 really quickly. Apparently, this report claims Arsenal and Chelsea are engaged in a fierce battle to sign Williams this summer, as both clubs look to bolster their attack with the addition of a quality left winger before the start of the 2025-26 campaign. Dortmund wonder kid Jamie Gittins is also being monitored by the two London clubs, although he's far more inexperienced and a less proven option than Williams. He's got 11 goals and 7 assists in 44 appearances, and there's even rumors he needs a hernia operation in the summer. So I don't know what that means for anything. Arsenal plan to accept Gabriel Martinelli offer after Arteta green light. Arsenal are prepared to accept offers for Martinelli this summer as Mikel Arteta eyes an overhaul. Big game player. Whatever you say about my guy, scored against Real Madrid, scored against Chelsea, scored against Liverpool. And I'm probably missing out some. Martinelli ain't going nowhere, man. But I hear it, you're probably in line for a new deal as well. And you know what? I don't know if they're talking to you, but clearly, Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Magalhaes, William Saliba, new deals. And then beyond that, Partey as well. And you hear Trossard over you. To be fair, I do think you and Odegaard, if you don't buck up your ideas, you're earning big money. And it's all fun and games saying sell Martinelli, but we're going to sell these man before people come in. And yes, we'll make a profit on 60 million. I see some people say 60, 70 million for Martinelli. Cool. We're a long way away from players' value and the transfer fee being spent on them correlating. And obviously with Berta, we might be better hustlers, but you're not getting no 50, 60, 70 million for Martinelli. You'd be lucky to get 30, 40, which is a profit. And then you lot will be hypocrites when he goes somewhere and the penny drops. Oh my God, he's amazing. We're not snaking him. Arsenal to sell Martinelli and sign top-class replacement. Arsenal are prepared to let Martinelli go. Fair enough. He's one that I don't think will force out the door, but money talks, all the other stuff walks in it. His form has been very up and down, and they're not 100% satisfied with what he offers. Some Saudi clubs have been looking at him, and if they come in with a bid that Arsenal deem acceptable, I don't think they'll stand in his way, provided this man actually wants to go to Saudi. But it will come down to whether they can bring in a replacement for him. If they decide to let him leave, they'll already be working on signing somebody else in his position. And that player, whoever it may be, because I hear they've got a number of targets out wide, will have to be an improvement on Martinelli. It has to be an improvement. That's something Arsenal and their scouts have been working on for a while now, especially given their lack of depth in that position, which means they need at least one new signing. Arteta wants to improve his squad, and that's a position he has identified to strengthen this summer. Martin Zubimendi deal agreed after Real Madrid twist. I mean, I'm tired of hearing about Martinelli. Freddie Bernal, yeah, he's yet to play in the first team. He's been named in England's under-17s Euro squad. Anything else about him? Pardon me. Doesn't look like he's going to sign for us, so what's the point? Big up Mertesacker. Apparently, Mertesacker's got some new kind of qualification, people. So, yeah, shout out Mertesacker. Big up Haaland, but that don't mean nothing to us. Arsenal are expected to kick off their summer business with a permanent exit of Nuno Tavares. The expectation is that Lazio will activate the option after Tavares impressed during his season on loan in Italy. Fair enough. We knew that. Ain't in an obligation to go. Fair enough. Zinchenko's expected to go. Tierney's cutting. Jorginho's cutting. Trossard was subject of interest from clubs in Saudi, and they could return to test Arsenal's resolve. He's in contract talks, allegedly. Lokonga's probably going to go, and Sevilla do have an option to make his deal permanent for 10 million quid. What's this? Player Bruno Log decided wasn't good enough for Wolves, is now wanted by Arsenal. Who's this? Oh, Franquillo of Sporting. There's only one player we need to be bothering Sporting for, and that's Gyokeres. And if not him, the Diamande kid. Arsenal ready for record summer spend thanks to much ridiculed plan. Okay. Arsenal planning a huge rebuild that could see 7 new faces. All season long, Arsenal been criticised for their 2024 summer transfer business. 100 million on Calafiori, Marino, Raya. And also we saw Ramsdale and Ketty and Smith Rowe go. Fair enough. While Arsenal needed to sell last summer to comply with PSR, their much aligned plan to hold their nerve in the transfer market may result in huge spending this summer. Transfer expert Ben Jacobs has told Give Me Sport that Arsenal spending could reach a whopping 300 million this summer, with 7 new buys lined up by Berta, and for the Gunners' transfer record to perhaps be broken. We know it looks like we're going to get Zubamendi. We're forever linked with the Espanyol keeper Garcia. Nico Williams is always linked with us. While a backup for Saka, bro, we're not getting no out-and-out backup for Saka. You might get a Nico Williams or some man that can play on the left, that can play on the right. When Yeri's future might be up front, it might be in the 10, it might be in the 8. In the short term, it probably is. And probably where he's looked the sweetest at this moment, off that right-hand side. I'm not saying we need to see it, but provided they stay, Trossard and Martinelli can play over there. You're not signing. This not happening, is it? It's just not happening. Just stop chatting shit to us. Anyways, 442 understands that this spend may look a little different on paper. For example, Williams, Zubamendi, and Garcia all have release clauses, which Arsenal will look to amortize rather than pay in full. It's likely too that the figure of 300 million is simply the figure Arsenal could invest rather than a net spend, as a new left back, for example, would depend on the future of Jakub Kiwior and Zinchenko. The club are certainly in a promising position when it comes to the amount they can spend, having accumulated good fees last summer for Hale grads, while Declan Rice may have inadvertently prevented the Gunners from spending big last summer. According to Sky Sports, the midfielders' fee was split into installments over 24 months. Usually clubs stagger these payments over the length of a contract. In Rice's case, 5 years, but this deal would have seen Arsenal around 33 million a year up until this summer instead. Fair enough, man. Arsenal should forget about signing Nico Williams and go for Eze. Would love Eze, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. And what is this? Is this the same things that we've seen from Ornstein? Arsenal's recruitment plans are vast, and at the top of the list is a number 9. We've read this already, ain't we, people? Fair enough. They'll be looking at wide positions with names like Nico Williams, Gordon. We see coming every day. Anton Semenyo, Rafael on the press. I don't know the veracity, I don't know that word, of all of them, but it is a position that Arsenal are focusing on. They want to renew Thomas Partey's contract. He wants to stay, but will they reach an agreement? If they don't, will they look elsewhere? They're already looking at possible alternatives for him, but let's see what happens. In defense, they like Dean Hodgson from Bournemouth to bolster at centre-back, but there are a number of clubs in the mix. There may be a left-back who comes in with Tierney leaving and Zinchenko available for transfer. Okay. We learn anything new? Everyone just repeating the same things. Don't forget, people, I've got Laurie at 3:10 as well. And at 4:10, who we got? We got big boy Matty, man, Southern Gooner. So, yeah, make sure you're here for that. There can't be any. Is there anything new? Is there anything else? Come on, man. Tell us Isaac's handed in a transfer request. Come on, man. Nah. What's this? What's Rice? What have you said? It's going to be 3 seasons in a row where we've come close to winning the Premier League. Let's be honest, we have not come close this year, but 3 years we've been spoken about potentially getting it over the line, or 2.5. It's disappointing. It's really, really tough to take, but you have to be able to take it in and be able to move on. It's hard to see other teams lift trophies when you've been in and around it and competing, and obviously that's the dream, to win the Premier League. But like I said, after our game in PSG, sometimes you have to suffer these small losses in life in order to win. Seems like all we're doing is taking losses, though. Every top player who's won a trophy has lost along the way, and they've never stopped believing or dreaming. True. He's then said, I'm 26. Half of our players in our team are so young. This doesn't define us now. We've got a whole career ahead of us to win stuff. We're going to keep pushing, keep setting out for more, and this is what the club deserves. We've been really, really close. But until we actually get our hands on a trophy again and start to win big things, I think then people will start to say Arsenal are back. There's no point just being in and around it and not winning. I think we're really close. We can sense it again this year. It's really, really disappointing, but we're not going to let our heads drop. We're going to keep trying to deliver for the fans and ourselves. It hurts. It's sickening. I really, really care. It's a sport I love. And we see this on the football pitch with you, guys. It's a sport that I want to succeed in. Winning something with Arsenal would be absolutely incredible. I've still got 4 or 5 years left on my contract here to do that. So the time hasn't happened yet at the moment, but I fully believe in my time here that we will. It's tough to take, don't get me wrong. It really is tough when you lose at anything in sport. If you have that winning mentality, it's hard to digest. It's been tough for you and Saka, innit? Because you've lost 2 finals in the Euros. Obviously, we all know what domestically is had in hand for Arsenal. But also, you have to hold your hands up when other teams have been better than you, true, and also deserve to win. And Liverpool have this year, facts. So I'm not one of them that will make excuses. Fair play to them. They deserve it. I think we're emotionally a really strong team. I think we've been through patches this season where in the Premier League we've dropped way too many points for winning positions. That's another one who said it. Took our foot off the gas in 1 or 2 of the games and let teams back in it. It's where we need to have that killer instinct to kill the game off. Don't be naive. Don't start to do things that we don't train. Don't start to take loads and thousands of touches and do silly things on the pitch that can get the opposition back in the game. Too many times this season that's happened, whereas last season it didn't. But look, football's a learning curve. We're here to learn. It's not an excuse. If you take your best 4 or 5 players out of any team in the world and still try to compete in the semi-finals of the Champions League, be second in the Premier League, not a lot of teams would be able to do it, losing your 5 best players, which is why I said I feel sorry for the players and not people above you lot. I think the players have been, I think the fans and the players have been shortchanged this season. I'll stand by that. And I mean what I say what I mean. We've really had to put that to the side and go out there as a group, whoever's been fit, and try and deliver the best we can. We have really, really maximized ourselves in terms of the players we've had available. It's been a big ask, man. You lot have tried. And I mean, it brings me back to your comments in January, Rice, about I'm sure the gaffer wants to sign people because we've got Tierney playing left wing. That's how City and Liverpool have been able to compete. They've had their best players available. They've had amazing players in every position. They're able to push each other to make it competitive. Next season going, we need to make sure that we're all way more available as a group and we can have the strongest 11 out there to compete at times. And I don't think anybody looks down on their teammates, yeah, but I do wonder about the players. Kivio ain't put a foot wrong. And there's better others, or Marino up front. But if you're Rice, if you're Saka, like we've all played football, and it's not to criticize them. They believe in their players, but we've all played football. Like when you're going into that semi-final, you're going into tough run-ins. You got to make it happen, and it is what it is. But do you look left and right and think, right, we ain't got our best players. What's going on there? I honestly don't know, man. But shout out my guy Hooks, man. Make sure you're subscribing to Halftime Hooks. That's a very good point. You can teach game intelligence, but you can't teach natural stardust. Bro, it's easier to teach. You need to stand here on the... Obviously, you need to be able to take in information, but it's hard. Like, come on, these men are professional footballers. Once you get to 20, even way beyond that, but once you're 20 plus, you're not going to get better technically. You're not. Once you get to 23, that's it. You can teach. You need to stand here. You need to press here. As long as there's a willingness, you can't teach certain technical levels once you get there. Berta has a reputation for brutal honesty, zero tolerance on failure. I'm sure that if he thinks there's someone available out there, he would bin Arteta. Is that his remit? Or if Arteta, if that was to be the thing, maybe the Cronky say, you know, Arteta, is your time's done. Berta, go and find us something. I don't think it's a thing where Berta's the director and he's saying, you know what, don't believe in his thing. And I've got sympathy for Berta and Arteta, but you don't have to. Everyone has to deliver. Berta, I cut you a lot of excuses because you're not involved in this, but you clearly believe you can achieve certain things, or you wouldn't come to this football club. People can say it's the board and it's all this with Arteta, which is true. I don't think them and above him want to be winners like that. And we'd have to do it in spite of that. But they could sit here and tell me we've spent bare money. And also, Mikel Arteta liked it. He took the job. He liked it so much. He signed the new deal and his coaching staff. So you lot are telling me he can do it. So how far are we going with it? I find it funny when people who watch All or Nothing try to go at Arteta for playing Liverpool anthems on the speaker in the world's best rugby coach is doing that too far, particularly hostile atmospheres. Boy, people don't care about sport like that. They're gonna boy, but people don't understand. People don't understand like building competitiveness and all those kind of other aspects, man, and don't want to. So they're just gonna have to laugh, man. If Kivio wants to go and get first team football, he's a fairly valuable asset, so we'll get a pretty decent fee for him. Kivio's on 60 grand a week. I'm not going anywhere because I don't get a bit of deal elsewhere. Really that simple. Probably it depends how much he wants to go play football, man. Need to stop these meaningless stats. The other big six have won trophies. We're the only big six team that hasn't reached the final. Facts. I like Kivio. One can see he's rusty, but that's because he needs more playing time. Big up P for becoming a member again. Shout out all the members, by the way. Is there any reason Tross always has bags under his eyes, man? Hey, man, talk to his gal or something. I ain't judging the next man's looks, man. Just keep doing the business on the pitch. But it has to be better than David Dean by an order of magnitude. David Dean wasn't working on the KSC ownership. I hear it. So many strikes. Someone's got to start somewhere, you know. We're going to be waffling about players that we'd like at our club next year and that we're not talking about now. They've all got to start somewhere. So my task is just make it happen. People were flirting with 100 likes. Getting Gyokeres will win us the league, DG. It'll make us a lot stronger. I don't think one single player is going to get us over the line. Yeah, man, I don't give a monkey's how he looks, mate. Winning the league as a rookie manager is a special achievement regardless of the league. It's very disingenuous to downplay winning the league as a rookie manager. Where did I do that? True football IQ and understanding is locked by early 20s. You're not going to change that much. Like, if you've got a dodgy first touch, your first touch ain't going to get that better. And that's even as much as I like Martinelli. What you are is what you are. Now, as Wenger said, once you get to 23, this is you know. DJ, I can't lie. This Zubimendi deal is looking spooky. One day you hear the deal is done. The next day you hear Arsenal looking to close the deal. I won't be surprised if he stays. If he stays, he stays. And with Zubimendi, we're used to being spoken, we're taken around the houses. At the end of the day, he needs to just, until he's holding the shirt, it's just talking points. If we win the PL or Champs next season, striker, centre mid, wide forward, back up, and Arteta needs to utilise the fine margins better. Havertz isn't scoring that in Portugal. Gyokeres plays in a Farmers League, so his goal stats looks impressive. I think Sesko would be a better fit. Just bring me either one. I'm past the point now, man. Just get me a forward, bro. Just get me a forward, and we talk about the pros and cons later. All these man calling Tesco will be his biggest fans end of the season. I'm not gonna lie, it's the greatest slander name. As much as I actually like Sesko, I would take Gordon, but it's not gonna happen. If Eze is mid, then Odegaard is gutter. Eze is definitely not mid. I wouldn't hang my hat on him, but he's definitely not mid. Ben Jacobs, waffle of the day. Smash the likes. Unless we're selling Martinelli to Chelsea United, we ain't getting 85 mil. I'm doing well, Junior, man. Hope you're doing better. God is good every time, man. Make sure you give thanks. Left wing does need an upgrade. Look at Shirley and Hooks. I'm open to Martinelli offers. Don't bread Martinelli when he comes back, you know. You know what he does at Anfield. You saw what he did as a number 9. I don't make the rules. I just play them. DG, your key positions to strengthen. Don't think budget, think positions. Striker, centre mid. If it's up to me, 2 centre mids, 2 forwards, and if it was up to me, I would like 2 strikers and 2 centre mids. But centre mid, 2 midfielders. If I'm honest with you, striker, left winger. Ideally, I'd like a Timber Tomiyasu kind of defender that can play everywhere, but I don't mind the left back. I don't mind the left-sided centre-back that can play left back, or a right-sided centre-half that can play right back. I want 2 goalies. Go and get me a decent second-choice keeper. And go get me a third-choice Scott Carson kind of guy. And then you do all the young keepers, go play football. And then if you get the outgoings, then Gaffer, if you want to do the Kai Havertz and all these special scientist experiments, go do your thing. I would take Williams, man. More so because they keep waffling about him, man. No one will ever get DG to answer that question. I'm rating the script. What script? You need brain cells to consider what I've said. What script? I'd like to think I'm quite clear with what I say. Life isn't white and black. Neither is football. And I'm never going to be a dancing monkey just saying what people want to hear, mate. You know what I mean? You think other clubs want chaos? What do you mean? I'm sure Real Madrid thought Mbappe joining meant domination. No trophy first year. Kane first year. Bayern, no trophy. I'd love Isaac. Gyokeres' class too. Zizou managed at the biggest clubs in the world with some GOAT players like Ronaldo, Marcelo. He's sus. Let's be honest. At the end of every season, fans think one big sign will be the difference in winning trophies or not. Same again next year, but reality is a lot different. DG, you can improve first touch. Takes longer when you get older. Okay, once you get to 18 in the professional environment, once you get to 18, 19 plus, how much is your first touch going to improve? And basics like that. If you ain't got it, you're never going to have it. Then from 18, 19 to 23, it's about getting experience, getting clarity about what are you in your position. From 23, you're a big boy now. Big boy now, go out there. Yeah, you're not the technical, I promise you. The technical aspects are not, you can make minuscule improvements, but if your first touch is baggy, you're not going to train for a while and your first touch is suddenly Iniesta's or whatever is going on. DG, we need more than one forward. Gyokeres allows us to get another wide forward. That is what we should be focusing on. Berta's got a lot to do, man. Appreciate that. Bro, you're not going to see that. Like, what you see is what you get. Honestly. DG, it's not just about signing to me. Arteta needs to take more risks, especially in attack. We need the 2022-23 speed back in addition to our current defense. As a former academy player, you're right. Bro, how much are you really going to improve that? Realistically, like, it's common sense. If anything, if any position you're more likely to improve technically, and you could caveat that within in the present day, like with the ball playing keeper stuff, keepers are more likely to show you greater technical improvements, in my opinion. And if you're not a half decent ball playing keeper now, you're not going to be, sort of thing. You're not, it don't work like that, bro. Like, it don't work like that. No matter how much thousands and what they say, 10,000 hours you put in, if you are like Martinelli, all he can do is start getting goals and assists. You can improve getting your head up. You're never going to see him look like the sauciest Brazilian, have the cleanest first touch, look crystal cold. You're not going to see that. Neither are you going to see Saka look the most cleanest when he's doing step-overs, not to criticize him. What you see is what you get, kind of thing. If you want the 2022-23 season back, then newsflash, Rice can't be a left centre mid. Our counters become more deadly with Zubi. Technique and first touch is formed in your youthful years. Look at Rashford. Man hasn't improved his game since 2018. Man's 28 and still same as his late teens. DG, do we need another big forward like Sesko when we have Havertz and now Marino as profiles? What about a running behind like Gyokeres instead? Brother, bring me Sesko, bring me Gyokeres. We need a gunman forward. Like Havertz, Marino, these man can be options. By God's grace, go do your thing. Bring me Zizou if he ever wants to manage the Arsenal. But would Zizou be 30? And it sounds mad to say. It's very different managing at Real Madrid to us, you know. Martinelli scored 15 goals once. Hasn't come close to that form since. I'm not going to say the rest of that, but leave him alone. Let me start some agendas. Hat always mid. Less of that. Sesko ain't prolific. Bit harsh for someone that's got 20-odd goals. But you wouldn't describe Isaac as prolific or based on his last stats, the stats he had at Sociedad. You bloody call him prolific now, isn't you? The black and gold kit is fire. Appreciate you, my boy. I'm conscious of time, people. So I'm back again at 3:10. I'm conscious of time. I want to give you a lot of time to relax and whatnot, people. So as usual, it's been an appreciative one. I actually was aiming for 45 minutes. We've been here waffling. I see you like 3:10 and then again at 4:10. If you're here on a replay, rewind it. God bless you all.